one of these government contracts, a no-bid contract that was awarded to Halliburton. The Houston Chronicle reported that 82,000 gallons of liquid propane fuel were to be transported to Baghdad. But they weren't going to be transported from the United States to Baghdad. They were going to be transported from Kuwait to Baghdad, a distance of approximately 300 miles. I contacted a liquid propane company and asked how many trucks it would take to transport 82,000 gallons of fuel. I was told about 10 trucks. I asked, how much would you charge to transport those 10 trucks approximately 300 miles? I was told approximately $1 per mile per truck, for a total of approximately $3,000. I asked if this was a government contract, how much would the charge be? And I was told that it would be 2 or 3 times that amount. So let's say it would be $10,000. The question is, how much was Halliburton awarded to transport this fuel? The answer, $27.5 million. How many of your tax dollars went to pay Halliburton to transport this fuel? Wouldn't it have been cheaper to have 10 privates drive those trucks that distance? The question is, how much money is coming out of the United States taxpayers' dollars to pay for this war and is being funneled into the pockets of companies like Halliburton? Is this a war for profit? You decide. After reviewing the video and photographic evidence, the number one question that people ask is, well, if the plane didn't hit the Pentagon, where did it go? If the plane that hit the South Tower wasn't Flight 175, then where did it go? Where are those people? Well, we can't answer that question, and if we were attempting to do so, we would be engaging in conspiracy theory. However, consider the following scenario. Let's say that you have to put a loved one on a bus bound from New York to Boston. You put them on a Greyhound bus, and off it goes. A couple hours later, there's a news report that claims that the Greyhound bus bound from New York to Boston skidded out of control, crashed, and exploded. A couple weeks later, someone who happened to be sightseeing with a camcorder shows up with a videotape of the event. And upon examining that video footage, we see that this bus says Trailways on the side. Question, where did the Greyhound bus go? Well, if your loved one was on that Greyhound bus, you'd want to know, wouldn't you? The next question is, should we ridicule and demonize anyone who dares ask, where's the Greyhound bus? Should we likewise ridicule and demonize the person who took the video? Should we negate and ignore the video footage of the Trailways bus simply because we don't know where the Greyhound bus went? Well, that's exactly where we are in regard to the video footage that you've seen. We may never find out what happened to Flight 77 or Flight 175, but the video and photographic evidence screams that we need a new investigation.
Dear brother, can you help me find my way? I seem to lost my way. Please, brother, dear brother, can you show me right and wrong to help us get along?
I would like to have every American get serious about being a citizen of the United States of America instead of just being an inhabitant, and start thinking on their own, because 9/11 is the single most important event to happen to the United States since Pearl Harbor.
For those people who question 9/11, who maybe support the work that the 9/11 truth community people have produced, for them to lift their voices. This is supposed to be the land of the free and the home of the brave. Let's be brave. Let's get involved. Lift your voice.
We can't let this stand. We cannot move forward. We have to leave a legacy of the Constitution, our rights, our Bill of Rights, everything for our children. Even if we don't get to enjoy it in our own lifetime, we have to fight for it.
There is some suspicion that what hit the trade centers may have been military planes. Might not have even been the flights that we were told. Of course, this raises up the horrific idea that, well, then what happened to the poor passengers? It's one thing if they were killed as collateral damage in some sort of attack, and it would be a totally different thing if they were landed somewhere, offloaded, and then just cold-blooded murdered. The problem is we don't have the answers to all of this because there's never been a truthful investigation.
I would like to see another investigation. I don't know if I could go with another official investigation. I think we've come far enough. All the people who have gotten involved in the 9/11 Truth Movement, they may not be able to come up with a definitive story of what happened, but I think we've got enough evidence to demolish the official story. And if that's the case, we need to continue. What was the aim? Why are we in the Middle East? Why did they use 9/11 as a pretext, a false cause, and a lie to get us involved in the Middle East? We need answers to these kinds of questions.
The 9/11 Commission report, it's the biggest insult and slap in the face of the American people that has ever been offered anywhere by anyone. This, David Griffin called it a 571-page lie. He said there isn't a word of truth in it, and he's absolutely right, because truth depends on context, and the entire context that's created in that book is myth, and more myth. That is sacred story designed to influence people's social behavior and their idea of themselves in the world, but it has nothing to do with fact. Myth can be true. Not all myths are false.
If we're going to continue to call ourselves a free and democratic society, there must be answers, there must be accountability. Somebody has to be held accountable for what actually happened on 9/11.
Ladies and gentlemen, justice must be served. The investigation into the attacks on September 11th must be reopened, and the evidence presented in an open and unbiased world televised trial so that those guilty of these crimes be brought to justice and let the punishment fit the crime. So what else can we do? Well, the answer can be seen in our founding documents. The Declaration of Independence states, "But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty, to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security." But let's be clear, no one wants to overthrow the government or abolish the Constitution. It was Abraham Lincoln who said, "We seek not to overthrow the Constitution, but we seek to overthrow those who would pervert the Constitution." We call on all those in uniform that took an oath to support and to defend the Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic, to do just that. We call on all those in law enforcement to protect and serve the people, not those who pass laws that destroy our way of life and criminalize the very activities that make us a free society. Our unborn children will either curse our complacency or they will applaud our activism. The world is watching what we do and what we don't do. The choice is yours. Either we resign ourselves and our posterity to a world controlled by those that would murder, deceive, and enslave us, or we rediscover our heritage, reaffirm our patriotism, and muster the courage to do what we know we must do. If we don't, we never again will be able to call ourselves the land of the free and the home of the brave. We can do it. We must do it. And we will do it. I'm Dave Von Kleist.